Hi everyone, Heather here with Astrology with Heather.com, and I am back with another weekly forecast. This one is from Monday, December 9th, all the way through to Sunday, December 15th of 2019. And this is a jam-packed week. There's a lot to talk about this week, so I'm just going to kind of get into it. First and foremost, we have the full moon in the sign of Gemini coming exact on Wednesday. So this is going to be the culmination of the energy for the month. This is going to be a time of increased activity, manifestation, and the full moon in Gemini is always a very social moon. It's a full moon where, it's really good to connect with other people, to connect with your community, to engage in communication or collaboration in some sort of way. However, this particular full moon is going to be a little bit dicey because not only is it in the sign of Gemini, which has this sort of I don't want to call it two-faced expression because that's not always the case, but in this particular circumstance, it might be. And this is because there's a square from Neptune, or a T-square, actually, to the planet Neptune from the full moon, because a full moon is always when the sun, which is in Sagittarius, is in opposition to the moon. And so we have the sun opposing the moon coming into this T-square with Neptune, which is the planet that is associated with deception, illusion, disillusionment, confusion, fog, lies, And so you have this trickster sort of Gemini energy that can sometimes be manipulative, or it can bring about an energy where people show up in different ways in different situations. So you might not be seeing the whole picture when it comes to your interactions with people. And that's not always the case with Gemini, by the way. I'm not saying that Geminis are two-faced or that they're manipulative necessarily, but that is one of the components of Gemini that can sometimes be brought about when other aspects or other planetary energies are triggering that. And so we have one of those energies, right? So Neptune is going to bring about this energy where things might not be exactly what they seem to be. And so when you are engaging in these social activities and situations, which can be a great escape with that Neptunian energy from day-to-day reality, just be aware that things might not be exactly what they seem. People might be saying or doing things that are not really in alignment with the truth. And so keep your wits about you, right? Just make sure that you're remaining grounded, and that if there is a really important decision that you need to make, that you're really thinking it through, that you see the full picture, and that you're using your intuition as guidance, because that's going to be that Neptunian component. If you're trying to think about it a little bit too rationally, your thoughts or your perception of what's going on is likely to be clouded. So you want to tap into that intuition, even if it doesn't make sense rationally. If people are saying one thing and you're intuiting another, rely on that intuition, rely on how you feel about the situation, as opposed to what your brain is telling you or what other people are trying to tell you. But other than that, there's something that's being brought to a culmination point this week for a lot of people. But again, the full picture or the full extent of what is actually being made manifest might not be clear. And so that's where we might run into a little bit of trouble. We might jump into something or decide that something is completed maybe prematurely, or we might celebrate a little prematurely, or celebrate something that isn't quite what we think it's going to be. So that's just something to be aware of. But otherwise, this is not a terrible full moon or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward full moon in Gemini. So I do recommend using this energy more for social interaction and for doing things that are fun, with groups of people, exploring different avenues for communication, maybe joining a new club or a new group, or having a party or something like that. I mean, these are all things that are pretty standard, typical full moon in Gemini activities that I think could go quite well for you, as long as you're not taking it too seriously. If there is a serious decision that you're making, just be aware of that Neptunian component. The other energy that's coming exact this week, which is super, super powerful, is Venus, which is transiting the sign of Capricorn, is actually going to hit Saturn and Pluto this week on Wednesday and on Friday, respectively. And this is going to highlight or trigger some of the energy of the upcoming Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which is almost exact now. It's going to be coming exact on, I believe, the 12th of January. And so we're coming into that energy, and it's not an energy that just lasts on the 12th of January. This is like an energy that's been building all year, and that will really culminate over this month, next month, the following month. And we're going to see the effects of this for years to come. This is a huge deal. The last time we had that Saturn conjunction to Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, if you go back and watch my video with Kesenya on this topic, was when we had the Protestant Reformations starting. And so the reverberations of that lasted for years and years and years. And we still, are feeling the effects of that sort of deconstruction phase that was brought about when it comes to the major control system of that time, which was the Catholic Church. So I'll post a link to that video down in the description below in case you guys haven't watched it. But we had a really interesting conversation about this topic, and it's even more relevant now than it was back then, because back then in the summer it was coming close to that conjunction, but now it's about to come exact. And so anyway, this energy with Venus is going to be highlighting that Pluto-Saturn conjunction, and it's going to be triggering something that we've been really working on and building toward, and also potentially deconstructing in our lives. For some people, there's been a lot of energy of needing to let go of something, needing to release oppressive energies in a certain area of our lives in order to make space for more adaptive, more stable, long-lasting structures as a foundation for growth for the future that are way more in alignment with what we truly and deeply desire, because that's Pluto's involvement, right? Pluto does not allow us to move forward with anything that is not in alignment with our truth and with our deepest desires. And so we've had to really look at the structures we've created for ourselves, the conditioning in our environment that we are carrying forward that is not true to ourselves. We've had to let go of oppressive relationships. We've had to let go of oppressive mindsets around things, or dogmatic, rigid belief systems around certain topics in our lives. And so now we're starting to come to this point where we've created some space, but there's still something that needs to be released. And so this Venus energy represents a couple of different things. It represents the beginning of coming back into balance if you have gone way too far on the side of purging, deconstructing, facing these challenges. Venus is a benefic planet, so it does bring, it sheds light on things, or it brings an energy in this area that's going to be, I wouldn't call it positive per se, just because that Saturn-Pluto energy is so strong and it can feel very melancholy or very cynical or very dark for certain people. And it does represent this sort of psychological crisis that we're going through when it comes to releasing what we need to release. Pluto's going to come in, though, and it could represent a couple of different things. A coming back into balance after this point of purging and releasing, or coming back into balance through creating new structures or beginning to create these new structures in our lives. But this could also bring in an energy involving relationship. And so it could be that for some people, a new relationship comes in that helps you to clear away the baggage, clear away the karma, a new relationship that's more solid, that involves a deeper, more intimate, more trustworthy connection with somebody. And of course, the specific type of that relationship would have to do with the house placements and other things that are going on that we'll talk about when we get into the all signs forecast. But that could represent that. It could also represent the clearing away of karma in relationships, and I think that this is going to be more likely. So clearing away old agreements, old relationships, like literally old collaborations, old connections, old contracts, even if they're just energetic contracts that we have with other people. This would be a really great time to energetically cut ties with the past, energetically cut ties with what no longer serves us, to renegotiate the agreements that are oppressing us or holding us in this state where things feel so burdensome and so restrictive that we can't move forward with this anymore. And so this could be a big sort of karmic release when it comes to agreements, negotiations, relationships, that type of energy. And I think that's going to be the bigger energy. But this could also even be like a material purge for a lot of people, where there are certain material possessions, financial situations, items of value in our lives on a very physical level that need to be released in order to clear up energy and make space. And so I've actually seen this with at least one of my friends who's has like a lot of she has her North Node in Capricorn, and so she has a lot of Capricornian energy. Jupiter came in, this Venus energy is coming in, and she's just clearing her whole house. And her fiance has the same sort of thing going on. He's a Capricorn, and so they're like literally cleaning out all sorts of junk and just getting rid of a ton of material possessions. And that could very literally translate to what's going on here, is a clearing away of possessions, material objects, financial situations, or financial burdens that no longer serve. And so we'll get into more detail when we go through the forecast for all 12 signs, but there's more to talk about. So we're going to keep going with this general overview here, because this is going to be a big week. So this might be a little bit of a longer video. So beyond what's going on with this Venus conjunction to Saturn and Pluto, this sort of tricky full moon energy that, again, I don't think it's like a super negative full moon energy or anything like that. That Neptunian energy is actually being trined by Mars, and so we can cultivate that energy and utilize it in a way that's more beneficial if that's what we choose to do. But at the end of the week, we have another really powerful alignment, and this is between the benefic planet Jupiter, which just moved into Capricorn. We talked about this last week and how this will impact your year ahead. And so if you haven't watched that video, definitely go back and rewatch that, because that's going to give you information not just about what's going on last week, but what's going on this week and what's going to be happening for the next 12 months with Jupiter transiting the sign of Capricorn. But this week we're having Jupiter, the great benefic planet, coming into a really harmonious, beautiful trine with Uranus in Taurus. Jupiter and Uranus like each other because Jupiter is all about freedom and expansion and adventure, and it's this like light, very opportunistic energy. When it comes into a positive alignment with Uranus, Uranus is about freedom, liberation, doing things that are new and exciting, breaking away from stuck, stagnant, boring energy, and creating just way better situations for yourself, rebelling against the status quo. And you're going to be able to do this in a way that's easy, that's positive, that's gentle, that's well received in whatever area of life is being impacted. So this is going to really help to move and clear away any stagnancy, any repressive, difficult energy in the areas that we're talking about, any frustration, because a lot of people have had a lot of frustration building in the area where Uranus is starting to transit in Taurus. A lot of those frustrations can be unleashed or released through some sort of positive change. And this isn't just on Sunday when this comes exact. This is the whole week and really into all of next week, because this is more of an outer planet transit. It is going to be more impactful for a longer period of time. So as you're watching this, you should already start to feel this energy take hold. It'll just come to that culmination point coming into the weekend on the 15th, which is my husband's solar return. So everybody wish him happy birthday or something on. He watches these videos and reads the comments, so he'll read those. But yeah, so that's good for him. He'll break away from whatever it is that's holding him back, and I think I have an idea as to what that will be for him, seeing as I am his astrologer. But anyway, it's a really powerful, really beautiful energy. And if you are a Sagittarius, not just for my husband, but any Sagittarius who is having their solar return on the 15th, this is going to be a liberating year for you. This is a big, major energy for you this year that's going to be very strong in your solar return chart. And so, yeah, so it's going to be a positive experience. But let's see here. I think that's pretty much the gist of it. So we have sort of a tricky start to the week with this full moon culminating. We have this energy that's super karmic that can feel very strange and synchronistic and super important, but maybe, in a way that could feel for some people kind of ominous or heavy around relationships, material possessions, renegotiating contracts, that type of thing. But we're ending the week and coming into the weekend with this like celebration of freedom, right? Where we're really coming into this space of liberation. And this is all happening at once. So people are going to be feeling a mixture of things: apprehension, fear, this sort of oppressive energy. At the same time, you might feel a lot of freedom and excitement in another area of life. You might have, some really wonderful interactions with some people. You might have good social interactions at the start of this week with a lot of people, but then you might have something that comes up that's really confusing or deceiving in some way. So this is going to be a tricky energy to navigate, just because there's so much going on, and in different areas of life it's going to impact us all in different ways. And so it's not just a bad week or a good week, it's like the whole spectrum of things this week. And so that's my little spiel about that. And actually, if you do really want to take hold of some positive energy, Monday up until the evening has some really good electional astrology. So that's a good time to kind of jump into something if you really need to start something new, or if you have something important that you need to accomplish this week. That would be your best bet, just because the energy is kind of all over the place. But into the weekend, it's really nice too. So especially coming into the Sunday and into the start of next week. But yeah, so that actually brings me to my next point. Announcements for this week. So I only have a couple of announcements. The first one being that my Mastering Pluto webinar. I've actually officially announced the dates finally. So if you are part of the Mastering the Outer Planets series, if you've already registered, you should have received an email about the Mastering Pluto and the Mastering Jupiter dates, which will be in your inbox. And for everyone else, if you want to register for the Mastering Pluto webinar, which is going to be live on the 25th of January, you can learn all about this really intense, really really passionate energy that is usually very deeply transformative when it comes into some sort of activation point in your life or in your chart. And so this is going to be a 4-hour webinar. You're going to learn all about Pluto. You're going to learn about Pluto in the birth chart, Pluto transits, Pluto cycles, everything. And you can find the link to register down in the description below. If you register in advance, you'll get 25% off, and you'll get to attend live. And if you also want to attend the Mastering Jupiter webinar, you have to sign up for the Mastering the Outer Planets series, because this is a free bonus webinar. It's also going to be 4 hours long, talking all about the great benefic planet Jupiter, and some of the difficulties that people don't even realize that you can have, because Jupiter is considered to be so lucky and so wonderful. And even last week, I had so many people in the comment section like salty about their Jupiter transit through the sign of Sagittarius, because I think I mentioned this in the video, people expect like money to rain from the skies and like the love of your life to just pop up out of nowhere, and like all of these wonderful things, because I think astrologers really hype up Jupiter. It's not always the case that it happens in that way, especially when there are complications in other areas of your chart. You'll still have good things happening from Jupiter, but you have to there's a lot to take into consideration. And so we'll talk about all of that in the Mastering Jupiter webinar, but you have to sign up for the Mastering the Outer Planets series, which you can do still right now down in the link in the description below. You'll get $20 off if you register before the 25th of January. And so you can find that too. And then coming up this week, I'm going to hopefully have a special for you guys for my webinars for sort of like the holidays and the end of the year. I didn't do a Black Friday cyber whatever business thing over last weekend, because it's just not my thing. There's too much chaos going on with all of that. But I do want to give you guys something so you can, end your year on a good note and learn some astrology knowledge, and sort of jump into whatever it is that you want to learn about and accomplish for yourself when it comes to studying astrology for the year ahead. So I'm going to do something for you guys. So check on social media. If you're signed up for my newsletter, you'll get an announcement about this. Hopefully everything will be ready for you guys on Monday. If not, then sometime next week. And then the following week, I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff for 2020. So if you are on my Instagram, I'm going to be doing a lot of posts about the upcoming the upcoming eclipses and the major transits and the retrogrades that are going to be coming up in 2020. I'm going to be doing a video for you guys where I'm going to be going over all of the different astrology and the major significant events coming up for 2020, including, of course, a forecast for all 12 signs. And I'm finally getting back together with the one and only Robert Phoenix. We're going to be discussing the mundane global impact of the astrology for 2020. And all of that will be not this coming week, but probably the following week. I'm just going to unleash a whole bunch of 2020 knowledge to the point where you're just going to be oversaturated. You're not going to hear any more about the astrology for 2020. So I want you guys to be prepared. And in my newsletter too, I'm going to be sending out a 2020 sort of info guide for you guys as well. So you can look forward to that. Follow me on Instagram at Astrology with Heather. Sign up for my newsletter. It's down in the description below, the link to sign up. And when you sign up for my newsletter, you also can get 10% off of any webinar or course through my website. All right, that was a lot of stuff. There's, I think, more going on right now. Astrologically and in terms of just what I'm working on behind the scenes here. Okay, so let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning, of course, with Aries. All right, and so for Aries and for Aries rising, first off, you have this really interesting full moon energy that's going to be happening in your third house of communication. And so this is already a really great time for communication, for connecting with your community, for collaborating with other people. And so this is going to be the culmination point maybe of some sort of community event or some sort of pursuit or project that you've been engaged with involving writing, communication, marketing, short distance travel plans, community-based projects, connecting with other people through communication in any sort of way. And this is probably going to be a time at the start of this week where you're going to have a lot of communication coming in, where you'll have a lot of emails, text messages, phone calls. It'll be kind of overkill, to the point where it might be a little disorienting or confusing to you, or there might be something that you're missing or that you're not seeing quite so clearly. And so take it one step at a time, utilize your intuition as guidance, pay attention to what's priority and what you can maybe put off when it comes to responding or receiving these communications, because the first half of the week it might be a little foggy or unclear as to what to do with the information that's coming in, or you might make a decision or some sort of judgment call that might not be taking into account the whole picture, or you might be on the receiving end of literally some sort of deception because you have Neptune in the 12th house of hidden enemies. It could be somebody working against you or intentionally doing something but you can't quite see it. So you do want to be aware of that. But this is a really great time to escape from your day-to-day life, your day-to-day routines, take a short trip, or especially if it's a trip that's going to help you to engage from, or disconnect actually, from your day-to-day routines and experience, to engage with some sort of spiritual practice, or to connect with a group of people. So some sort of trip with a group, right? That would be the best way to utilize this energy. So go somewhere with some friends at the start of this week, and don't answer your emails because you might have a lot of them. And what the other thing that's going on here is that you've been having a lot of challenging energy in your 10th house, which is the house of career, public reputation. It's what you are doing sort of out in the world, out for the public to see. And a lot of people who have had Aries rising have been letting go of old oppressive circumstances around their work, around their career, around situations or dynamics involving bosses and power struggles within the workplace. And now's a time where you might actually have an opportunity to renegotiate some sort of contract or agreement related to your work, or related to your business in some way. You might start to see some sort of recognition for all of the hard work that you've been putting in to clear away what is not in alignment with your passions and desires for yourself and your career, and to set a really solid foundation for your future in your career. You might get some sort of message or some sort of connection, or even a really important, very karmic collaboration that could come in, or a business partnership or a new opportunity. This could also be you ending some sort of business partnership because it's just too oppressive, it's not working for you anymore, and you need to clear clear it away. In either case, there's a lot of activity there. And whatever's going on for you this week is a clue as to what's going to be coming up for you, probably more intensely and in a way that's a little bit more challenging in the middle of January, when we have this Pluto conjunction to Saturn exact right amidst the eclipse season. So you want to pay attention to what's going on now, because it's going to be a lot easier to get ahead of it and to work on it now, as opposed to putting it off and not dealing with it. This could also be some sort of oppressive energy that's been bogging you down related to the resources that you create through your work. And so you might have an opportunity to renegotiate some sort of contract or agreement related to your pay, right? Your paycheck. It could be an energy where maybe they're withholding your paycheck and you have to sort of fight for it or something like that too. But I don't necessarily think it's going to be that dire. You know, Venus is a benefic planet. This is not necessarily going to be easy. There's going to be challenges, but you know, I think that Venus is going to provide some sort of opportunity here. But I think a lot of people who have Aries rising will be clearing away karmic connections that are just past their expiration date and that you've been holding on to related to your work. And, you know, by the end of this week, you're going to feel a really incredible sense of liberation. So the other thing too, and I do think this is going to be very geared toward relationships with Aries, because you have this Pluto, Saturn, Venus conjunction, especially if you're an Aries sun, moon, or rising, really anywhere from like 17 to 25 degrees. You're going to have this squaring your ascendant and descendant. And so this is going to be an intense energy that's going to affect you more personally, and it's going to affect your relationships a lot more. You might be dealing with some sort of difficult issue involving a romantic partnership even, that could come to a culmination point, or could be made public in some way. Or dealing with power struggles or people in positions of authority related to relationships. So maybe some sort of like, you know, in the most extreme circumstances, like a divorce agreement or something like that, and you have to adhere to what the judge says or whatever it is for you. But anyway, so that could be a part of the experience for some Aries. It's not the lightest energy necessarily, but there's a chance to renegotiate, and there's a chance to reconstruct in a way that's going to be more in alignment with what you desire for yourself. And coming into this weekend, you're going to have this sense of freedom and liberation. And so this is where you can start to get some sort of recognition. You can start to rebuild when it comes to your career. You might get actually very literally recognition for something you've done in your career. You might get some sort of raise unexpectedly. You might have an unexpected change to your finances as a result of the really hard work and the efforts that you've been putting in, especially when it comes to trying to create more financial sovereignty for yourself. And so this is going to be a welcomed experience where it's going to feel very liberating. This could also be you wanting to make changes to the way that you deal with your resources, or letting go or bringing in new material possessions rather abruptly. And so that could be part of this experience for you as well. But the end of this week is going to bring a much lighter, much more, I don't want to use the word liberating too much, but it will be a liberating energy. So let's just go with that. Okay. So for Taurus and for Taurus rising. So for Taurus and for Taurus rising, this is a better week for Taurus than for a lot of the other signs, because this Jupiter-Uranus trine at the end of the week is really going to dominate the energy for you, as opposed to some of these more difficult circumstances. However, there will be something that will come up for you probably at the beginning to middle of this week. Wednesday is when it really culminates with this full moon in the sign of Gemini in your second house of resources. And so this could be an important communication that comes in around finances. This could be the culmination of a really important purchase that you've been trying to make, or a really important investment, or a really important, something to do with your savings, or something to do with money that you've been trying to bring into your life in some way. And so there's going to be some activity around finances and your financial situation, and coming back into balance maybe between focusing on paying off debts, or focusing on your partner's resources. And this could be a time where you get to focus a little bit more on your own money that you create through your own efforts, or where you see some sort of results from trying to build your savings account. But things might not be exactly what they seem. So this might be the culmination point of an important purchase, but you might not have the whole picture. So you want to just be very clear and very cautious when it comes to spending money, because you might feel this urge to overspend or to indulge a little bit because you've been working so hard or this or that. But if you do that, there is the potential where the offer that you're acting on might be too good to be true, or you might be deceived by somebody in some way. So you just want to be aware of that and utilize your intuition as guidance, and it should be fine. So if intuitively it feels good and it feels like this is the right moment, then it's probably the right moment. But if you're using your rational mind too much to make these financial decisions, you might make the wrong ones. And so that's really the way to decipher and figure out between, like, okay, is this an illusion? Am I creating this like wild, crazy, awesome circumstance in my head? Is this salesperson lying to me, or is this the right thing to do? The other thing that's going on for you is you're going to have the Pluto, Saturn, Venus conjunction in your 9th house, which is the house of beliefs. It's the house of your connection and relationship with God, the universe, the world around you, that you frame. It's the way that you frame your reality through that connection, through your philosophies on life, through your moral and ethical value systems. And so one of the things you've been working on is letting go of oppressive, rigid, dogmatic types of value systems, rigid, dogmatic belief systems that are not in alignment with what you deeply and truly hold as truth. And so this is kind of maybe letting go of an old religious practice, letting go of old teachers, especially spiritual teachers and like gurus and things like that, that are not in alignment with what you truly believe, or that are causing, or that are restricting or oppressing you, or maybe manipulating or controlling you in some way. This is also, potentially problems, complications, some sort of physical or psychological crises that has to do with travel or your connections with people in foreign countries. And so these are all things that you might be letting go of, releasing. This could also be you, though. So letting go of a karmic connection or a karmic relationship with a teacher, especially like a spiritual or religious teacher, or a teacher in a higher educational setting. This could be you letting go of, your beliefs about something, or restructuring your beliefs about something, or your beliefs, usually your philosophical, moral, ethical value systems and beliefs, in a way that's more balanced and harmonious, that serves you a lot better. This could bring up some sort of unexpected travel opportunity, but it's not going to come easily to you, or it might be work related, and there might be some sort of difficulty or intensity around this need for travel. And this could, I think that this could, ultimately this could be quite positive, especially if you are a Taurus rising sign or a Taurus sun sign, with your sun rising or even your moon anywhere from 17 to like 25 degrees in the sign of Taurus. This is going to be trining your ascendant, your sun, or your moon. And so this is really going to be experienced more positively. This is going to be you figuring out who you are, what you believe in, and aligning yourself with those beliefs, and aligning yourself with relationships that are in alignment with those beliefs, aligning yourself with teachers and connections with other people that are in alignment with those beliefs. So you're going to be acting more out of your integrity, which has been a major theme throughout this Pluto-Saturn dance that's been going on in your 9th house. Coming to the end of this week and into the weekend, there is a powerful, really beautiful energy with Jupiter trining Uranus. And so this is where the changes you've been making are going to start to pay off, especially if you are born at the beginning of Taurus. So if you have your Taurus sun, moon, or rising anywhere within the first 6 degrees of Taurus, you're going to be feeling this the most, and you're going to have the most positive impact. And so you've probably been working on changing something in your life. You've probably had a lot of disruption to the status quo. You might have been having changes involving your body or your health. You might have been having changes involving your goals, your orientation in life, the way that you act out in the world, or the way that other people perceive you. You might have been changing your appearance. You might be having some sort of makeover. Usually when Uranus transits your first house, by the time it's done, you're like a completely different person, and you're unrecognizable on all levels. And usually that's a good thing because you're liberating yourself from any old conditioning from society or from your upbringing that is causing you to behave in a way that's not true to you and that's not in alignment with your path and orientation. But so you might be feeling frustrated with certain things in your life, or you might have been feeling frustrated with certain things in your life, especially yourself and the way that you've sort of locked yourself into maybe a stagnant routine. Jupiter is going to come in and bring surprising benefits, and it's going to help to liberate you. You're going to feel free. You're going to crave freedom and excitement and new adventures this weekend. This is one of the best weekends for you to travel, to go out and to have an adventure, to do something you've never done before, and to expand your horizons, expand your knowledge base through your experience. So this is going to be just breaking you free from any stagnant energy and allowing you to have fun, allowing you to rebel against your old habits and your old way of being in a way that is going to be very well received, and that's going to bring positive benefits that you might not even realize at the time that you're doing it. All right. That was a long forecast for Gemini and for Gemini rising. So for you guys, this full moon is in your sign. And so this is going to be a really powerful full moon energy where the spotlight's on you. This is going to be you coming back into balance from focusing a lot of your energy and attention on your relationships, which is what happens in Sagittarius season for you every single year. There's a lot of energy around connecting with other people, focusing on the needs of others. This is a time where you're going to come back into balance by focusing on your own needs, where the spotlight will be on you, where you might get some sort of recognition, or a very personal project or endeavor might come to fruition. This is a time where your health might be in the spotlight in a positive or a negative way. With Neptune there could be, some sort of you might be more susceptible to like infections or your energy being a little depleted or something like that, especially if you have your Gemini rising anywhere from 15 to 25 degrees, I would say, with this specific configuration. You might have that sort of fogginess, confusion, or you might be feeling depleted in some sort of way. This could be very literally, though, you having some sort of personal success or some sort of personal culmination point of a project that you hold dear, especially related to your work. You might think it's completed, but you might not see the whole picture, or you might think that it's going to, because of this culmination, because it seems like it's coming to fruition, it's coming to like this conclusion soon. You might think you know how it's going to play out, but it might not play out exactly as it seems. And so just kind of be aware that you need to make adjustments and use your intuition as guidance when it comes to important projects coming up for you this week. Or you might actually, for Geminis, you could get some sort of recognition that's not necessarily deserved, and so you might feel like guilty or like you're deceiving someone, even if you're not actually actively doing it. And so I think that could be an interesting energy for some Geminis as well. It's kind of like you're getting the spotlight's on you, but you feel like you didn't do something to warrant this, or the recognition you're getting is truly undeserved in some sort of way. So just kind of be aware of that too. If that is the case, just come clean, or maybe it's just that you don't feel like you deserve it, but you do. So it just depends on what it is you did and what you're getting recognized for, I suppose. But this is a good time for you to focus on your needs, your self-interest, because it's your time to shine. You're in the spotlight. And then the other thing that's going on is, of course, this Pluto-Saturn conjunction with Venus in your 8th house, which is the house of joint finances. It's the house of marriage, or finances through marriage. It's debt, taxes, inheritance, other people's money. But it's also the house that's associated with fears and anxieties and past traumas and wounds that are buried beneath the surface. And so this is a house where you can really empower yourself. And this is a time where advice from a friend or some new person can come into your life, some new intimate relationship even, that can help you to uncover and work through any past wounds or traumas that are causing you to live in fear and that are controlling your behavior in some way. Any unconscious patterns that are resulting from these previous experiences on a psychological level that are causing you to act obsessively, or that are causing you to not act when you maybe should be. This is you overcoming your fears with the help of a friend or the help of some sort of guidance from another person. This would be a great time for therapy for Geminis, like to go into some sort of therapy, even if it's, it doesn't have to be traditional therapy. It could be whatever it is that feels good to you, but some sort of therapeutic, especially on a psychological level, like a therapeutic setting where you're working one-on-one with somebody could be very beneficial. This is also a time where if you've been working really hard on deconstructing oppressive energies related to your finances, especially involving debt, taxes, joint finances through marriage, things like that, you can start to see results and you can start to have your financial situation come back into balance. This would be an interesting time for Geminis where there could be an opportunity, especially toward the end of this week, for some sort of important investment. And so pay attention to that because that could come out of nowhere and it could be surprisingly beneficial to you in a lot of ways. And this is also a time where you're going to start rebuilding and cultivating some positive change to your financial situation. So if that's been very burdensome for you, if you've just had debt hanging over your head and you've been working so hard at it, you're going to start to see results and you're going to have some unexpected opportunity that might funnel money into your 8th house. That could even be like through a partner, like your spouse could get a raise all of a sudden or get some sort of bonus or find money, on the ground in a way, like it would come about in a way that's probably more unexpected or more unusual. And that could be part of this energy too, but it's going to feel liberating. And so that is what's happening for Gemini. All right, and then for Cancer and for Cancer rising. So this full moon energy is happening in your 12th house. And so normally full moons are a time to be really active and to go out and to celebrate. And especially the full moon in Gemini is always a nice social full moon. It's like when it happens, the same time every year during Sagittarius season, which is just before the holidays. And so it's usually a time where people are having their like office Christmas parties and, there's a lot of social gatherings going on around the holidays. But for this particular full moon in Gemini, it's going to be less about that. And for you, it's going to be more about coming back into balance by turning inward, because you've been having a lot of energy in your 6th house. You've probably been especially busy with work or with dealing with health or dealing with your daily routines. Even if you don't work out in the world, your day-to-day life has probably been, highlighted. Your daily routines have been highlighted. Things have been maybe a little bit busier for you. Now's the time to come back into balance by resting. And so this highlights the need to take time away from the world, to spend time in rest, solitude, seclusion. This is also a really great time for you to tap into your intuition and, spend time in meditation or spend time cultivating creativity. If you wanted to do something social, spiritual, or creative pursuits in social situations would be best, or some sort of spiritual retreat even, especially because this is in a T-square with Neptune in the 9th house. Just be aware that you might have elevated expectations or ideals around these situations that might not live up to your expectations. Or the reality might not live up to your expectations. But for the most part, for this full moon, I think it'll operate much more smoothly and effectively for Cancers, as long as you're not trying to push yourself out in the world too much and you're taking time for solitude, seclusion, introspection, and rest. That is the most important. And especially harnessing those spiritual energies, devoting some time to your spiritual practices, taking a bath with herbs and candles or whatever it is that you like to do, spending time nurturing yourself, but also nurturing what you need, what your spirit needs, what you need in terms of that spiritual connection. The Pluto, Saturn, Venus conjunction. This is happening in your 7th house. And so you've probably been going through some difficult times or some challenging circumstances related to close personal relationships, marriage partnerships, romantic partnerships, close friendships, business partnerships, important agreements or contracts. And so you've been kind of going through this energy of deconstructing or transforming an important relationship in your life or an important agreement or contract in your life. And it's been a lot of work. And so now's the time where you can come back into balance. Maybe a new connection can come in for you, or maybe it'll be much easier to let go of past karma or an old karmic connection that is just no longer serving you anymore in this lifetime. So you can clear those karmic ties once and for all. But this would be a really great time for a renegotiation when it comes to the terms of your relationship with somebody, right? So that could be just sitting down and having a more formal discussion about what you need, like on an intimate level in your relationship. That could be sitting down and having a formal discussion about a business contract or partnership, or some sort of negotiation about an agreement or contract in general. But that could actually go a lot more smoothly for you this week. And this is also going to give you a preview of what's to come in January, except it's going to be a much stronger energy in January with that Pluto-Saturn energy coming exact, and a lot more difficult. So if you're utilizing this energy, reaching out to help for other people, this would be one of the best times if you are having marital issues to seek out relationship counseling or some sort of mediation in some way, because having that balanced, objective third party or working with somebody on that level is going to be very helpful for you. But it's going to show you, and doing that's going to help you, because if you are having those issues, it's going to get, it's going to reach the boiling point in January. So you're going to get ahead of that, and you're going to hopefully be able to have a much more positive outcome, regardless of whether you're maintaining or transforming the relationship or letting it go. So that's, something to really think about here. And renegotiating agreements or contracts involving finances. That could be something that you could do really easily, especially involving debt or something that's really constrictive in some sort of way. So, calling your creditors or something and trying to renegotiate. It might be intense, but I think that you could actually make some headway with that. And then coming into the weekend, for Cancers and Cancer rising, Jupiter is actually finally entered into your 7th house. So you're starting to see some of the results from all the hard work you've been putting in toward reconstructing, deconstructing, transforming your relationships, and setting up a good foundation for your relationships in the future. And, you've had this energy with Uranus moving into Taurus. So this is where a lot of friendships, new friendships will form rather abruptly, and old friendships will end rather abruptly. There's going to be disruption in shocking and unexpected ways to your connections with, the group. And so this could actually bring a really positive new connection through friendship that could either be romantic, or it could just be a really close new friend that, ends up becoming like your best friend or something like that just comes in out of nowhere. But this is a really great weekend for you to go out and socialize. Connect with a group, because it'll benefit you in really surprising, shocking, unexpected ways, especially if you're connecting with new groups of people and like people that you normally wouldn't connect with. So if you normally hang out with people that are super eccentric, then that might not be the Uranian way for you. That might be the exact opposite. You need to connect with people who are more conventional because that's outside of your norm. But usually it's people who are more eccentric and who are viewed as different or sort of on the fringe of society. But definitely connecting with a new group, doing something new, joining a new group activity, a new club will benefit you in ways, and will benefit your relationships in ways, your current relationships in ways that you never could have imagined. Okay, so for Leo and for Leo rising. So this full moon energy is happening in your 11th house, which is the house of friends. So for Leos in particular, this is an extra great time for you to socialize and spend time, with groups of people that you love. So spend time in communication and in collaboration with your friends. Go out with your friends, go out for a drink or whatever it is that you like. Oh, maybe don't go out for a drink with Neptune. You got to be careful with Neptune energy squaring anything when it comes to substances. So maybe just go out and spend time with your friends, enjoy those connections. Do a group activity, join a club, form a club. Maybe this is the culmination point of something that you started involving some sort of group or organization, or maybe you're going to be recognized by some sort of group or organization into this week. But just be aware that there might be something that you're not seeing clearly, or you might have a friend or even a group of people that might be deceiving you some way, or you might not be seeing them clearly. Or there might be a social situation that comes up that's kind of strange or awkward and you don't quite know how to handle it or what's going on. If that's the case, it's okay. That energy will start to lift and you'll start to get clarity in a couple of days. But utilizing your intuition as guidance is going to be much more helpful than trying to to rationalize what the heck is going on here. When it comes to your social activities and what your friends are telling you, maybe there's some sort of weird rumor going around, and you think you know what it's all about, but you don't actually know. This would not be a good time to pass along rumors or spread gossip for Leos either. So just kind of be aware of that, because you might get yourself into trouble this week, especially when it comes to your social circle and your friends. But then coming into, also the middle of this week, you have the Venus-Saturn-Pluto conjunction that's happening in your 6th house, which is the house of work. It's the house of daily routines. It's the house of your health, and nutritional habits and things like that. And so you've been working probably very, very hard in your day-to-day life. You've probably had a lot on your plate when it comes to your work, or maybe you've been restricted when it comes to your work and your ability to work due to health issues, or due to somebody else's health issues, or lack of having employment. That could be for a lot of Leos an issue as well. But in either case, this is a time where you've been working really hard to deconstruct old oppressive energies when it comes to your daily habits, your daily work, and your daily health routines, where you've been cultivating better, more adaptive habits and routines that are more in alignment with what you truly need and desire on a day-to-day basis. This has also been a really great time to work on detoxification of the body, and it's still a really great time for that, where you can help reset your immune system or reset your body so it functions optimally by and bring yourself back into homeostasis, right? Because that's Venus being involved in this by doing some sort of detox. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, and this is not medical advice necessarily, but this would be a good time to maybe cut out things that are toxic that you're eating, cut out toxic habits in your life, cut out toxic people in your day-to-day environment, especially in your workplace. This could be a karmic ending of an important relationship in the workplace, and so that could be part of this too. But this could also be a coming back into balance and coming back into harmony after all of the hardship and difficulty that you've experienced when it comes to your work and daily routines, and having to work so hard over the past year in order to create a better foundation for your future when it comes to your work. This is also going to be a really positive energy that can come up over the weekend. You could have some sort of surprise that comes through your career. You could have a surprising new career opportunity that comes up for you, a job offer that comes up unexpectedly. It could be something that's really liberating and exciting and outside of what you normally would do. But if you're able to jump on that opportunity, it can benefit you in ways that you never could have known about or seen in surprising ways. This could also just be you getting some sort of surprise recognition for the hard work and the effort that you've been putting in your work, and so that could be part of this too. This could also, so that I think that's pretty much covering it. And this would be a great time for you to make changes, to liberate yourself from your current work routines or your current work situation. If you're feeling restricted by it and you're feeling like you need more freedom, now's a time where you can break free from stagnant energy when it comes to your work and do something new. Try something new that you've never tried before when it comes to your business, or a new project maybe that you want to initiate for your work. You'll have a lot of benefits from doing that, and you've created this foundation with your daily routines where you've cut out a lot, so you can actually make space for this moving forward. All right, these are long forecasts today. There is a lot going on though. All right, so for Virgo and for Virgo rising, so this full moon energy is cultivating in your 10th house, which is the house of work. It's the house of your career. It's the house of public recognition. And so this is a time where you might be recognized for something. This is a time where you might have some sort of important relationship related to work reach a culmination point. There could be some sort of recognition that you get from your bosses or from somebody in a position of authority or from a business partner. But just know that whatever's going on, you might not see the full picture, and you might actually, this is kind of similar to the Gemini forecast, where you might actually feel like the recognition that you're getting is, dishonest, or it's not warranted, or you might feel guilty about it for some reason, like you don't deserve it. And that might actually be the case. If that is, just come clean. Don't take, responsibility for somebody else's work, obviously. But if it's not, you might just be feeling like you're, deceiving or like you're not good enough or something like that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the case. You know, there could be some confusion or some sort of difficulty around your relationships, especially work-related partnerships and relationships that comes up. But for the most part, this is a good time to where you might actually have an important project that's really coming to fruition. You might be recognized for your talents, your gifts, for the hard work you've been putting in toward your work. Where you are probably going to be forced into focusing more on your career this week as opposed to spending time with the home and family. That's been more of a focal point since the start of this month with that Sagittarius energy. And so that's going to be the major theme for you guys this week. The other thing that's happening is that you're having Venus, Saturn, and Pluto coming into a conjunction in your 5th house. The 5th house is the house of romance. It's the house of hobbies, interests, play, things that you love to do. It's your passions. And so you've probably been feeling really limited or restricted when it comes to your ability to engage with your passions. Romance has probably felt like a lot of work. Play has felt more like work. It's like you have to work really hard to create circumstances to do these types of things. And it makes it almost not worth it. Or it feels like it's almost not worth it. Like play is more trouble than it's worth. Romance is more trouble than it's worth when you have this energy in your 5th house. But now's a time where you've probably broken away from any hobbies, interests, old romances, old flames that are not in alignment with what you truly and deeply need and desire in relationship. And so this could actually be a really positive energy where a new relationship comes in or a new romance comes in, or where you can reignite the passions in romance if there's been sort of a damper on that in your current relationship. This is also a time where the hard work that you've maybe been putting in to transform your passions, your hobbies, your interests into something bigger, into something maybe like a career or a business where you might start to see results, or you might have somebody who partners up with you and helps you achieve your end goals. For Virgos, this will be an easier energy than for other signs because this will be trining your ascendant sun or moon, especially if you have your sun moon rising anywhere from that 17 to 25 degrees. You'll be feeling this the most, and you'll be feeling this in a way that's empowering and very positive, and you might actually get some sort of recognition or some sort of spotlight on you for the efforts that you've been putting in your life. And so it's kind of like a restabilizing energy where you're aligning your passions with who you are and the way that you're projecting your energy out into the world. The other thing that's going on here, of course, is the Jupiter-Uranus trine, which is also in your 5th house, but it's also in your 9th too. And so this is a really fun energy. This could bring really powerful, new, surprising opportunities for travel, for adventure, for fun, for passion, for doing the things that you love to do because you love to do them. You might have been restricting yourself in that area for quite some time, and now, after all of that frustration, you're able to break free, you're able to get away, you're able to do something new and exciting. This could also be, really surprising, positive new developments involving your children if you have any, or children in general. This could be a new hobby or a new interest that comes into your life unexpectedly that takes on a greater importance than you think that it will at the beginning. Or this could even be a new relationship with somebody in a foreign country, like a romance or something that's probably something that would be maybe not long term. It could be though, but something that at the very least would be fun. All right, and then for Libra and for Libra rising. So for Libras, this full moon is happening in your 3rd house, in your 9th house, which is the house of foreign travel. It's the house of education, higher education in particular. It's the house of your beliefs about God, the universe, the world around you. It's the house of adventure and exploration. And so this could bring the culmination point of an important project involving a foreign country, involving travel plans. This could bring some sort of culmination point involving a higher educational pursuit, or involving a course that maybe you're teaching, or some sort of engagement in publishing or writing with this Gemini Sagittarius axis as well. Whatever it is that's coming up for you that you've been working really hard on in these areas, just know that you're maybe not seeing the whole picture here. So maybe you think that everything is set in motion, you're seeing it come to fruition and it's going to be a certain way, it might not turn out exactly as you've planned or exactly as it seems like it will. You might have some sort of deception or something that you're missing or neglecting involving your day-to-day routines or your health that might impact your travel plans or your plans for the future when it comes to your education or your ability to really complete an educational project or pursuit or a travel pursuit. And so just be aware that that's a possibility, and that even when it seems like things are really coming to fruition, they might not be exactly as they seem. You might be deceiving yourself, or you might have maybe an employee or a coworker or something like that who's deceiving you. And maybe you thought you had that time off, right, for your travel plans, and then you realize that the person who is scheduling it like screwed you over or something, right? So that could be something. So you want to make sure that you're just dotting the T's, crossing the I's before you really jump into something involving an opportunity for travel or for higher education or something like that. But for the most part, as long as you're relying on your intuition as guidance and not trying to rationalize too much, you should be fine. And the other thing that's going on, of course, is this Pluto, Venus, Saturn conjunction, which is happening in your 4th house. The 4th house, of course, is the house of home, family, property. It's your family of origin, so it's like your parents, right? The people that you grew up with, the household you grew up in. And so you might have had this energy of restructuring when it comes to your home, when it comes to your property, when it comes to your family dynamics and relationship with your family. You've probably been working on letting go of oppressive energy related to your home. Maybe you've been detaching yourself from your current living situation and trying to create something better for yourself for the future. If that's the case, you can have an opportunity to renegotiate some sort of contract or agreement related to your property, related to maybe a lease or rental agreement, or maybe refinancing your home or something along those lines. You might be able to renegotiate or restructure an important relationship within your family dynamic that can really help you to liberate some energy, and that can help you to have a better sense of homeostasis, a better sense of balance and equilibrium in your home environment moving forward. This could actually impact your relationships. So this could also be, especially if you are a Libra rising, with your rising sign anywhere from 17 to 25 degrees, you might be feeling this really intensely on a very personal level, but also when it comes to your relationships. And so this could be an energy where you've been working on restructuring and letting go of oppressive, burdensome circumstances in relationships, and working toward creating a better foundation for deeper intimacy and connections with people that are more in alignment with what you truly want, need, and desire moving forward in the future. And so, something could be triggered with that. You could have to deal with an old relationship, or you could have a new relationship come in, and it might be challenging in some ways. It might feel like a good connection. It might feel like this is kind of what you desire, but it might come on slowly, or there might be some sort of barrier to connecting with this person. You might have been working on deconstructing or reconstructing or transforming a current partnership, and now's a time where you can create better balance, maybe even through some sort of like couples counseling or mediation or something like that as well. And then that's part of the energy, but you also have this really great Jupiter energy that just came into your 4th house that's opening things up for you when it comes to your home, your property, your family dynamic. And then you have Uranus coming in. And so there could actually be something that comes in that's very liberating related to joint finances, inheritance, especially from family members, or some sort of opportunity that comes through the family that allows you greater freedom when it comes to your finances. This could, at the very least, just feel like you could have an exciting new opportunity when it comes to your home or your property. So you might have been building toward that. You've created space, you've laid the foundation, and now you might be able to move into something new. You might be able to even like travel or live as a nomad or something like that with this energy. And then for Scorpio and for Scorpio rising. So for you guys, this full moon in Gemini is happening in your 8th house, which is the house of joint finances. This could be, bringing up the culmination point of an important financial opportunity that comes through partnership, through marriage. Maybe your spouse or significant other gets a raise or gets a new job or something like that, so more money is going to come in. Or maybe you believe that more money is going to come in through this opportunity, but you don't have the full picture just yet, or things are not going to work out exactly as you think they are. So just kind of be aware and use your intuition as guidance when it comes to navigating these situations. This could also be the culmination point when it comes to an important endeavor involving paying off debts or taxes or inheritance, or dealing with, you know, other people's money in that sort of way. But you might think that you have the clear picture. You might think that this is coming to fruition in a certain way, and it's developed, and it's reached this boiling point, but you might not have the whole picture, and you might have to go back and make adjustments, or you might be deceived, especially with a financial offer that's too good to be true. So just use your intuition as guidance. Don't try to rationalize it too much, and be aware that you might not have the full picture. This could also be, you know, when you have the moon in the sign of, or in the 8th house, especially a full moon, this could be a very emotionally charged full moon. So things might feel more intense for you for a couple of days. And especially with that Neptunian energy, you might be more empathic, but also more guarded. So you might be picking up on a lot of stuff, but you might be kind of like, you know, retreating into your shell as a result of that. If that's the case, then that'll pass. It's not going to last for, you know, super long for you. The other thing that's going on is that you have this Pluto-Saturn-Venus conjunction in your 3rd house, which is the house of communication. It's the house of marketing. It's the house of writing. It's the house of short distance travel, community. And so this could be an energy where you've been having a lot of really burdensome, oppressive energy related to communication, or related to any of those things that we just talked about, where you've been working really hard on an educational pursuit, or you've been working really hard on writing something or on a marketing strategy, and it's just been like really intense, and you've really been pushing, and you've been having to let go of old ideas, old fears around communication. And now this could actually bring in a really important relationship, or a really important communication in a relationship that is a result of all of the hard work and all of the effort that you've been putting in. If you have your Scorpio rising sign, especially between 17 and 25 degrees, this could be you re-solidifying and coming back into balance in an important relationship, especially through communicating very honestly with that person about what you truly need and what you truly desire. That could be part of it too. But this could be like a new opportunity. I would say that this could be a new opportunity that comes in, or some sort of balance or equilibrium that you come to after having a lot of hardship, or having to purge a lot when it comes to old beliefs, old ideas, old ways of thinking, when it comes to old plans or strategies, and when it comes to dealing with kind of just communication in general. The limitations and restrictions on communication that you've been feeling over the past couple of years are starting to lift, and so new opportunities are coming in. And especially this week, this is a really great time with Jupiter in trine with Uranus in the 7th, for you to connect with your partner, connect with somebody that you care about, connect with a new partner even. But if you are in a relationship, this is a time where you can do something really exciting or really fun together over the weekend, where new opportunities can come in unexpected ways through relationship, or through collaborations, or through communication with others. This would be a really great time to go off and travel, take a short trip with a partner, especially if you do it sort of on the fly, in a way that's sort of unexpected, or to a place that's highly unusual. And so that could be part of this energy too. You could have an unexpected message that comes in too, that changes things for you, that changes an important agreement or an important relationship, but changes it in a very positive way. All right, and for Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. So for you guys, you're going to have this full moon energy in your 7th house, which is the house of relationships. And so this could be the culmination point of an important agreement, negotiation, or an important relationship in general. This is also where you've been focusing a lot of energy on yourself, and you've been kind of in the spotlight. And so it's been, your solar return reset. And if you are a Sagittarius sun sign, you can get your solar return forecast for the year ahead, a 2-hour forecast that goes into all of the most important energies to help you navigate the coming year. Down in the description below is where you can find that. But for those of you who are having this full moon, actually for your solar return, this is like a culmination year where a lot of projects that you started in previous cycles are really coming to fruition. They're reaching this boiling point for you this year. But for all Sagittarius people, this is kind of a coming back into balance by focusing some of your energy and attention on relationships, especially relationships with family members or relationships connected to the home. You might think that you have everything figured out in an important agreement, contract, negotiation, or relationship with a family member, but you might not have the full picture, and there might be somebody who's deceiving you in some sort of way. And so just kind of be aware of that, especially if you're in any sort of one-on-one situation with somebody coming into this week. Just be aware that you might be deceived in some way. You might not see the whole picture, or you might not be told the whole picture or given the whole picture. So you might not have all the information that you need to really renegotiate that contract or agreement, or to really connect with the person that you're trying to connect with in a truthful way. And so that's just kind of something to be aware of. But this could also be, just really important new developments that really reach this boiling point in relationship. And so it could just be as simple as that, like you've been working on a project in partnership with somebody and it comes to fruition. Or you've been working on something really important with your spouse or significant other, and you finally see it manifest. Just know that there's something that you might not see clearly about the manifestation of this, so you want to just keep that in mind and utilize your intuition as guidance. Okay, and this Saturn-Pluto Venus conjunction is happening in your second house. The second house is the house of money. And so you've been working really hard on letting go of really restrictive, oppressive, difficult circumstances related to finances, related to maybe the way that you create money through your efforts and your hard work, related to the way that you deal with finances. Maybe you've had to stick to a really strict budget for some reason, and that's felt really hard or really oppressive. Maybe you've had to purge a lot of debt, or you've had to purge a lot of your material possessions or resources for some reason. And so now you're coming back into balance and equilibrium in that area. This is also a time where maybe you've been restructuring your finances, and you can come into some sort of new negotiation or new agreement around your pay. So what you're being paid through your workplace, or around some sort of financial agreement or contract around paying off some sort of debt or financing in some sort of way. This could also be where your bank statement comes back into balance. Your savings comes back into balance and equilibrium after taking a bit of a hit or having some sort of restriction in that area of life. But this could also bring some sort of new opportunity for you through a new relationship that helps you out financially in some way. And this is also a week, especially toward the weekend, where you can get some sort of news or some sort of new opportunity that comes to you that helps you to break free from restrictive, difficult, oppressive circumstances or stagnant energy in your work, your daily routines. Especially through your work, though, I really feel like this is going to be a change in your work or a change in your day-to-day habits with your work that can result in better financial opportunities moving forward. All right. And then for Capricorn and for Capricorn rising. So this full moon energy is happening in your 6th house of work and daily routines. So you've probably been focusing more of your attention inward, where you've been spending more time in introspection, you've been needing more time away from other people, and that's natural because you're coming into your solar return soon, or you're coming into the sun hitting your ascendant if you're a Capricorn ascendant. But if you are a Capricorn sun sign and your solar return is coming up, you can order your full 2-hour sun sign solar return forecast, where you can get really important insights into what this solar reset is going to bring for you. And it's going to be a much better year for Capricorns. There's still some challenges, but it's not quite as difficult. And there's a 15-minute video where I get into this, I posted just yesterday, actually. So you can watch that as well and get some insight into what's going on for you, so you can set the right intentions for your year ahead. But in any case, there's been this period of introspection, pulling away from the world. And now you're going to be sort of flooded with some busyness. That's usually the case when your sixth house is involved. It's like all of a sudden you're out in the world and you have to do a lot of different things, and your daily routines are taking greater importance, or they're demanding more of your attention. You could have some sort of health issue that comes up that you have to focus on in order to take care of your body. You might have some sort of issue involving your work that comes up that you have to pay attention to, or your coworkers or your workplace. But this could also be the culmination point of something that you've been working on involving your work, or the culmination point of a specific situation involving your coworkers, where you think it's finally coming to this point of being resolved, but maybe there's a miscommunication and you're not seeing things quite so clearly. And so just kind of be aware of that things might not be exactly what they seem. Your work is going to demand your attention. Your day-to-day habits and routines are going to take on more importance this week. You're going to be busier. But whatever it is that's coming to fruition when it comes to your work, or when it comes to your health, maybe you have started a new nutritional or health regimen and you think you're seeing results, but maybe you're not seeing things so clearly, or you're not reading the instructions or doing it properly to achieve the desired results. And so just make sure you're double and triple checking everything if that is the case for you. This Pluto, Saturn, Venus conjunction is happening in your first house, which is the house of you. It's the house of the self, so it's going to be impacting you more personally. This could bring in a new important relationship that helps you to come back into balance, or this could bring in an energy where you've been really working hard on deconstructing, letting go, releasing any burdens, any restrictions, any oppressive energy in your life that no longer serves you. This could even have been you letting go of old conditioning, old habits that are not true to yourself, that are not really part of you, that you've taken on as a result of your upbringing or conditioning from society. So this is really you letting go of anything that's not true to you, anything that's not really who you are. And so Venus is coming in and helping you to come back into balance. It might bring in a new relationship or an important partnership as a result of all of the hard work that you've been doing, all of the space that you've been clearing away. This could also be you letting go of, things material objects that are very personal to you, or maybe even like an old look or an old wardrobe or something like that you need to let go of. And even if it seems that simplistic, it could just be you having to shed these material possessions in order to free up space or free up energy in your life. Jupiter has moved into your sign as well, which is helping you to feel more optimistic. It's bringing in some new positive energy and liberating you from old habits, old stagnant ways of being. And so you have Uranus in the fifth house, which is the house of play, pleasure, fun. It's the house of joy. And so you might have some new unexpected positive opportunities to do things that are joyful to you, to engage in new hobbies, to engage in new passions. You might have new opportunities to play with your children or to do things with your children that you've never been able to do before. This might change your relationship with your children in a positive way, or change the relationship with a romantic partnership in a positive way, or bring in a new, unexpected, spontaneous romantic partnership with somebody who you wouldn't have necessarily considered as a romantic partner or as a potential romantic partner in the past. All of these things can come up for you. You could have an unexpected opportunity for travel or for some sort of new fun exploration or some sort of adventure that could come up for you this week. So this weekend is a good time to get out there, to do something new, to engage in a new hobby. Try something that has always felt exciting for you, but you've never truly engaged with before, because that's going to bring in a lot of positive energy, and it could bring in a lot of benefits that you might not even have realized were a potential. All right. And for Aquarius and Aquarius rising, this full moon energy is happening in your fifth house. So this is going to be a much nicer, especially because it's going to be trining your ascendant too, but it's going to be a nicer full moon energy for Aquarius. This is a time where you've been focusing a lot on your friends, your social networks. Now you can come back into balance by focusing on your passions, focusing on the things that you love to do because you love to do them, right? The things that you do by choice because they're fun for you. This is where you could have the culmination of an important passion project. This could be a really great time for romance. You might have some tricky energy, or you might not be able to see your romantic partner quite so clearly, or there might be some sort of miscommunication going on, maybe about who's paying the bill with with Neptune in the second house if you're going on a date or something like that. But for the most part, this should be a positive energy for romance for Aquarius. So this would be a great time if you're in partnership to go out on a date. This would be a great time if you're not in partnership to seek out a date. This would be a great time to go and just do something fun because you love it and you want to do it. So get out there in the world, and especially if you're doing it with a group or as a social activity, I think that this would be a great energy for socializing and for doing things that are fun and pleasurable for you. As we come into actually still at the middle part of this week, you have this Pluto, Saturn, Venus conjunction. And so you've had this period of isolation where you've had to spend more time in introspection, where you've been wrapping up, losing things, letting go of certain aspects of your life that no longer serve you in preparation for the cosmic reset of Saturn hitting your ascendant and later on Pluto. And so this has been, especially the past year, a time of deep purging, deep clearing away, where you've had to really let go and unravel certain aspects of your life. It's really a major clearing when you have this energy in your 12th house, and it usually does force you into some sort of seclusion or isolation, even if it's just sort of like on an energetic level and not on an actual physical isolation level. But Venus is coming in and it's going to help you here. So you might start to come back into balance a little bit. You might start to see some positive results from what it is that you've been clearing away. This would be a great time too to go into this would be a great time for some sort of spiritual journey with a partner, or to do some sort of deep inner work in partnership with somebody else. That would be a really great thing that you could do with this energy. Later on this week, especially into the weekend, you have Jupiter in your 12th house. And so Jupiter is expanding on positive things in the 12th house. So it's expanding on your spiritual practices, your spiritual awareness. This is a great time for spiritual studies of all kinds. And with this Uranus energy trining Jupiter, it can bring really powerful new opportunities for maybe traveling for some sort of spiritual retreat, for tapping into your inner world, for tapping into your compassionate nature, for giving back or giving to charity in some way, because that's Jupiter in the 12th house. It's being very generous in a way that's compassionate toward others, or that's helping other people who are less fortunate. And so that could be something that you could really tap into in unexpected ways, or an unexpected opportunity could come in for you this week to tap into that energy. All right, and then for Pisces and for Pisces rising. Okay, so for you guys, this full moon is happening in your 4th house, which is the house of family. It's the house of home, property, your place of living, your family of origin. And so you have this full moon energy that's pulling you away from focusing so much of your attention on your work, on what's going on outside in the world. What you're projecting outwardly, right? And so you're focusing, you're being brought back down to focus more of your attention on your home, your family, and what goes on after work, right? So you've been busy working, achieving your goals. When it comes to your career, maybe getting some sort of recognition with the sun in your 10th house, or some sort of important project you've been working on. And now's a time to come back into balance by spending time at home. Maybe take a personal day, spend time focusing on your family and what your family needs. That would be connect with family, right? Connect with your family, connect with your roots this week. That would be a really good way to utilize this energy. There could be an energy where you're being deceived either in the workplace or being deceived by family members. And so just kind of keep that in mind, or you might feel deceived, or you might not see the whole picture when it comes to some important opportunity or some important project in your home life, or involving maybe like some sort of renovation or improvements on your home, or an important move, or an important family related activity. There's something that's coming to this culmination point that you might not see quite so clearly. And so just kind of keep that in mind and use your intuition to help navigate. If you're thinking about it too rationally, then you might not get the whole picture, or you might end up making some sort of mistake. So you want to make sure that you're using your intuition as guidance, and if you do that, you should be fine. The other thing that's going on is that you have this Pluto-Saturn Venus conjunction in your 11th house, which is the house of friends. It's the house of social networks. It's the house of groups that you surround yourself with by choice. It could be an organization that you're a part of. It could be a networking type of thing. But, you know, for the most part with this Saturn-Pluto energy in your 11th house, you've been purging friendships that no longer serve you and only keeping those friendships that are deeply loyal and that will stand the test of time, that'll be with you for life. And so everyone else who doesn't fall under that category, you've probably been disconnecting with either actively, or they've been falling away, or you've been having trouble with those relationships. Now's a time where you can start to come back into balance, and you might actually, for Pisces in particular, form a new friendship that's going to be very, very important, that will be deeply loyal, deeply connected, deeply long-lasting for you, where this could be a lifelong friendship that comes in, especially for Pisces, sun, moon, rising between 17 and 25 degrees. You know, important new relationships, especially friendships that come through group connections, can come up for you this week, so it's a good time to engage with that. The other thing too is that Jupiter's come into your 11th house, so it's expanding on your social circle that you've sort of contracted and restricted and been purging all of the excess from. And you also have this energy of Uranus in the 3rd house. So this would be a great time to take a short trip with a group of friends, kind of to do it on a whim, or an unexpected opportunity could come up to take a trip with a group of friends, like a short distance trip of some kind. Unexpected communication can come in that can help you with some sort of group project, group activity. You might get some sort of unexpected social recognition for something that you've done in the past, or maybe for some sort of humanitarian or altruistic pursuit. But in general, this weekend is a great time for you to socialize. Get out there, spend time with your friends, connect with your community, because really incredible benefits can come through doing this that you probably won't even realize at the time. And so, so this is a powerful time for group connection and for communication and for just really engaging in relationship for Pisces. All right, that was, I think, kind of a long one. Thank you guys so much for watching this forecast. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and share with your friends if you feel like they can benefit from the information in this video. And as always, you can find me on Facebook or on Instagram. My Instagram is @astrology with Heather. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.